Am I excited today to be out here in the Cannes Yachting Festival for the world premiere of the Axopar 29 CCX, or the one that I call the true crossover. I've always felt that the Axopar 29 range, when we made the third generation of boats, had some more potential in it. We've created and launched in January this year the Axopar 29 Standout and the Axopar 29 Cross Cabin. Two really excellent boats for their purposes. But to me, utility, multifunctionality, modularity has always been so close to my heart. And now, when we started development of the 29 range over 2 years ago, I always had a dream of my own to have the possibility to venture into a new genre and style of boats. Here's the first view of the Axopar 29 center console crossover. To me and to Axopar, the CCX stands for modularity, multifunctionality and utility. On this boat alone, you will be able to have 7 deck configurations on the back part behind the helm. You will be able to cater for 4 different configurations here in front where I am today. This is the most versatile Axopar ever made. This is the boat where I hope we can cater for the widest variety of different users in different locations all around the world. With the 29 CCX, this to me is a statement of the adventure, statement of the ingenuity of our design team and our engineers in how to make this all work on a 29-foot platform. So one thing that strikes you the moment you step on board the 29 CCX is how we made the helm area. We actually raised the floor by 10 centimeters when you compare it to the Axopar 29 Suntop. We also then raised the console area, and the roof and everything has been moved upwards. Alongside then providing more visuality and more visibility from the helm. The one thing that is really unique on the looks of the 29 CCX is that we kept the forward raked windshield. There are so many benefits with the forward raked windshield. First of all, it of course creates that Axopar signature look so that you're recognized wherever you go in the world that you're on an Axopar. But there are many technical features as well. First of all, you always see forward raked windshields on all of those North Pacific workboats. The main reason why you have them is that it reduces glare. Now we have full sunlight out and we have no glare on the windshield whatsoever. So that is the first thing. The second thing is that when we have any sort of water, spray or rain hitting the windshield, the wind from the draft will actually keep drying the windshield, so I don't need to use the windshield wipers that much. Also, the second or the third thing actually that follows is that now, because we moved the roof and the windshield more forward instead of having it here, I have a skylight on the roof. And this skylight brings air to me while I'm driving. You see on many traditional American boats, they open up a windshield because they have a full vertical windshield or a backwards raked windshield. And because we now have everything moved forward, so me as the driving position, I actually get air inside here to cool me on a very hot day. Of course, another thing, have a look at this view from this helm. Completely uncluttered views. So for you, whether you're driving in bad weather conditions or you just want to soak in the beauty of Mother Nature, you really get it on the CCX helm. It's still instantly recognizable as an Axopar. But what we did with the boat is that we actually made a complete new deck and we raised the boat 10 centimeters to create more offshore capability to the boat. Also to have higher gunwales or bulwarks so that wherever I'm walking around the boat, I'm always safe in any condition. In addition to that, we also were able to hide the handrails so that wherever your catch is, whatever fishing you do, you will not be caught up with a line on the rails. Axopar CCX is a bit about fishing. It's not all about fishing. To us, it's this modularity and multifunctionality. We're launching the boat in Europe. So to me, a CCX that is going to be the most sold model in Europe is going to be the one that more or less offers the most comfortable functionality. So for us to go out to a bay like this, beautiful sceneries like this, lay at anchor for a day, swim, snorkel, scuba dive, have any sort of water sports activities, water skiing, but just hanging out with friends and family and relaxing. This is something I truly appreciate here in the Balearics or here in the Côte d'Azur, south of France. Here we have the U-sofa that you've already been regularly introduced with on the 29 range. And here we have the sunbed now in the forward position, but as you also know, I can move the sunbed so that I have it here in front of me. This is now a U-sofa that caters for many people all around. And of course, I can remove the sunbed and I can make this into a very comfortable forward seating area. I have carbon fiber sun rods, which I'm going to be showing you later, so I can also enclose this area for full sunshade and full protection. The one thing that you recognized on the 29 immediately is the forward raked windshield. This is the one thing that makes an Axopar stand out. The visuality from this boat with the roof structure, with the hard top that is now then fully kitted and fully optionable with fish rod holders. We have secured reinforced places for outriggers. You can select to go with an open radome radar or here an enclosed dome radar. And here in the back, as you now see, we also brought for the European launch, we brought it here with one single V10 engine in also our U-sofa configuration, which is very comfortable to be seated around. So this boat is all about lounging and enjoying a day out at sea. So now I rigged up the full sunshade, and as you see, this is now an extra long version. Why did we do it this way? Well, in the Balearics, when you go in and you anchor, you can be moored up with many people all around. So what we opted to do is to have easy unhooking of the sunshade to just be able to provide a bit better privacy by folding these ones down. Now you have a fully shaded area. You just hook them inside here, and now when you're sunbathing in this area, you have full protection and you have full privacy in this area. So what you can also do in addition is that you can now shorten the sunshade so that if you still want to do some off-deck activities and you want to have it outside, you can easily just shorten it. So now it's halfway. You still have some shades for the helm, but now the off-deck area is full free for me to use and walk around. There are other cool features that we've done on the boat as well. I'm so eager to show these to you. It's a first premiere here in Cannes, and it's our wet bar configuration and the introduction of our to me, a pretty smart and simple solution for grilling wherever you go. Let's have a look at this. Now I remove the sunshade so that you have a better chance of seeing what the U-sofa configuration on the CCX truly is all about. To me now, I've set this down into the sun pad position so that I'm comfortably going to be able to launch here and have a look at any water sports activities you're doing. But as you remember from the walkthrough video of the 29 Suntop that we did in Düsseldorf this year in January, you see that we can actually sit this in this backrest in 4 different positions. In addition to that, we can also have this as a full dining table setup. So very functional and still fully easy to walk around, move around. But also in addition, you have very spacious aft decks with the single engine configuration. You still have a very spacious bathing platform to get in and out of the water. What we also did, because this is a center console, is that we added a lot of lights on this boat. So we have down flooding lights for the aft deck. We're having down flooding lights for the foredeck. And also in the front, we have a light bar facing forward. In addition to that, you also see that we have a solar panel fitted on the roof. This means that the boat will trickle charge itself if you don't have the capability or the possibility to have an offshore connection, or your offshore onshore connection actually trips off. So you will always have a charged battery whenever you approach the boat. The carbon fiber rods are pretty easy to operate, lightweight. So setting up the sunshades, pretty quick. Huge storage underneath, you just store it away. There you go. So instantaneously recognizable as an Axopar. And on this boat, we also now have the world premiere of the Brabus line package introduced to all the 29s. So all the details you see on the boat, black labeled letters, black labeled Brabus fittings, black rub rails, black grab rails, all the hardtop fixings, all the aluminum tubes, everything around is now black. Also, in addition, we have some soft decking that we have attached to the roof in order to also take away a bit of sound, and also that for the footrest. So all to create that distinctive Axopar Brabus line look. Have a look at this fender box. So we enlarged the fender box storage on the 29 significantly compared to the Axopar 28s. So in this size range, you have a huge fender storage on both sides. But on this boat in particular, we also have a new world premiere. It's the wet bar configuration for the fender box. So we actually replaced this side of the fender box to have nice bamboo lid cover cutting boards with a top loading fridge and a sink. So perfect to keep any sort of drinks, anything cool around you. Easy access, on the go, Axopar way. In addition to us adventuring and going anywhere and being able to take stuff with you anywhere, that is important to us. So that's also why we introduced this very easy to use, easy to operate grill. This grill is actually from Magna, but when you order the boat from us, you will get a Berlewin fix with a hooking point, which makes it possible for you to store the grill in different positions. So while you're driving, it's going to be more protected facing inwards, or when you want to use it, you can use it outside. So for me, the Magma grill is a perfect solution for any day grilling. Take it home with you, take it on the beach, just go outside and have fun. So this is our solution to this way. In addition, also, we have huge storage underneath the deck. So here we have all the essential safety gear. We have a big box for our camera guy. So you have ample of storage in here. Underneath the used sofa, we can open up this area and we have a full width storage area, and underneath this as well. So now let's make this into the table configuration. So now I set it up as a very sociable, multifunctional setting all around. You still see that I'm missing the two backrests that we usually have around the U sofa. This is just for me to have that possibility to just easier move around and be located in different locations and different placements on the boat. Let's set up the backrests as well. So, very comfortable seating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If the cameraman also turns his seat and the pilot seat, we are sitting very comfortably up to 8 people all around the table. So to me, and you remember I had the sunshades, so I can still keep the sunshades, I can still close them for privacy, still being fully sheltered in this from the sun if I so want to. Very, very, very multifunctional. So an Axopar is all about walk around ability. So for me to be able to move around the boat, always have a handrail somewhere where I'm walking, it's always something that we do in our design process. Also, the one thing is that there are no steps around, so there's only this small walkway that is going down a bit, but you're always having a flush floor, except for when you're entering the aft deck area. Here we have a small step where we have a self-bailing deck. So that is also the second thing that Axopars are well renowned for. If you were ever in an occasion that you would get a water over the bow, it's gonna easily self-drain itself from the back. An Axopar is all about drivability. So let's now head out to the sea and see what this baby can do. So as I said, we have a Mercury V10 engine on this boat. To me, this is one of the most suitable engines for European use. I know that in America, people are going to be opting for the double V6 dual 200 horsepower configuration. In terms of fuel economy, this engine in itself is driving around 1.8, 1.9 liters per nautical mile. And if you select this one with also the dual engines, the fuel economy will remain the same. This boat is capable with the V10 up to speeds of 46, 47 knots. And with the dual engine 200s, it's even higher. It can go up to 48 knots. So a really true fast boat on the water. So before heading out to sea, I just want to show you how my favorite position behind the helm of the 29 CCX or any Axopar in that sense. I always want to be using this as a more of a leaning pose so that I can be relaxed but still leaning about when I flip up the bolsters. But one thing, of course, when you set the chair more backwards, I can of course be riding very bad conditions and flex with my knees. Or then the third thing is of course just be sitting down and relaxing. 3 different positions of how you can drive the boat. My favorite, the lean back position, because it gets me connected. I have my feet on the floor, I can feel the boat, I can feel how it handles, it makes me more engaged with the boat. What we also did on the 29 CCX, and through feedback from a lot of our customers, is that we actually cleaned up the helm and made it a bit more logical. So for example, you need to go for a horn before you needed to search through all those buttons to find a horn. Now, to me, the only thing I need to do is just press one, get my hand on this, and I will always have the horn to use. The same thing goes for the windshield wiper. Now I have a dedicated position for it, so I always know where I have my windshield wiper. In addition to that, popular request to have all the switches and all the lights dimmable. So in here we have a dimming function so that I can actually dim all the lights and also all the push buttons so that I don't get obscured by night vision, or my night vision doesn't get obscured when I'm driving at night. In addition, we now have a light bar in front, and we fixed the light bar, the floodlights for front and aft. We moved them up to the hardtop roof so I can easily dim the lights up and down when I'm driving at night, not to impair my night vision. In addition, we also have for the passengers, the spotlights are now quick fixed in here, ambient light that fixtures everything, and these are also of course dimmable. So the lights in the roof, the coach roof all around, I can easily dim to my setting that I want at the occasion and time. It's all about functionality, it's all about getting feedback from customers, getting better at what we do, improving our product on a daily basis. This is what you see. Also, in addition, what we have on the 29 is that we have a bit more advanced audio system that we're offering on the standard Axopar 29. So we have a JL audio system that is now comprising of up to 8 speakers all around the boat, 4 in the helm area. And in addition, we also have a nice set of tweeters that are digitally sound processed so that we get a good dispersion of sound inside of this helm, so that when stationary or driving, you can still enjoy the music. All right, so let's head out to sea and see what the CCX is all about. Axopars are all about drivability. To me, the CCX is my favorite boat to drive just because of this helm position. I get some air inside of the boat, but I get the full protection from the windshield, from any wind chill. Because the situation is that with an Axopar, you usually go for a bit longer distance, you drive a bit further. So to me, to be in wind and spray for hours and hours, that gets a bit tiring. But behind this fully protective windshield, I can drive 6 to 8 hours easily, and I will feel fully relaxed and fully recharged when I come back to port. So also one thing that the Axopars are well renowned for is that they keep a true heading. So even if I were to use the boat at slow speeds, it's still gonna track straight. So when I go to do some mooring lines, things like this, I can still make sure that the boat is going to travel in the direction I set it up for. So a nice safety feature of an Axopar as well. We were talking about the roof, so we were talking about the skylight. So here you can actually see how well it's going to be drafting air inside to the cockpit if I so want to, or if I want, I can just easily close it. The forward facing light beam, also with an additional searchlight, and also all the VHF and radio antennas, as long as also the anchor light, are all foldable, so that if you have a low clearance bridge, you're going to be good. So as an example, we are now driving the boat at 9 knot speed. 9 knots is usually pretty bad speed, where you would start to have a huge bow rise on many traditional boats, which will actually block the view from the helm so that you don't see the horizon where you're going. And for me, this never happens on an Axopar, especially also not on the 29 CCX. And I can gradually, slowly increase the speed to 10, 11, 12 knots of speed. And it still doesn't do any sort of snaking. It's still, now we're at 13 to 14 knots. I still have full visuality from the helm. I still see my heading, and it still keeps its heading running smoothly. keep picking up speed, 15 knots, no problem. And now we are already at planing speed. So around 15 to 16 knots, we're already getting the planing speed. So in that sense, very easy to drive, very easy to maneuver. In my opinion, the Axopar 29 CCX to me is one of the best handling 29s out there, because we were just able to get that center of gravity with the increased fuel tank, giving it a bit more mass, but also getting the center of gravity or the mass moved very dynamically balanced in the hull, so the whole boat feels just that much more balanced when you're driving in any type of conditions, whether it be choppy seas, full offshore, or in sheltered waters. 20 knots starts to be the beginning of our cruising speed. And if you look at the fuel consumption, we're doing 2.0, 1.9. So that's our fuel consumption at the moment. And bear in mind, this is not the most fuel economic speed that we're doing. So the most economic speed range starts around 22 to 24 knots. And we can keep that same level of fuel consumption up to speeds up to 32 knots. So we have a huge variety of speeds. You can select yourself according to conditions, where the fuel per liter or liter per nautical miles does not change at all. So that is a nice built-in feature. So you are actually selecting the speed you want the boat to travel in. Around 20 knots would also be the maximum speed we recommend for you to drive with the sunshade. So if the cameraman shows a bit of a picture behind, this to me starts to be the maximum speed I can recommend to be driving, or having the grill outside there as well. And Axopar to me is all about drivability, and I've always tried to push for the newest development also in times of hull development, so that we want the boats to feel as simple, as easy to drive as a car. We want to clean up the helm so that there are no additional buttons or anything that you don't need to be using. So having more of an approach like on a car than on a boat in our occasion. All right, so let's start speeding up. So as I said, the boat keeps a true heading. So whatever speed I'm driving, now I'm driving 10 to 11 to 12 knots, it still keeps a true heading and keeps the nose pointed into the direction I want it to go to. And I can ease up the throttle. So I'm slowly, gradually speeding up to 14 knots. I'm now driving 15 knots. Now I'm putting up some more speed, 15, 16 knots. And as you see, I'm already on the plane. So we have a very low planing threshold. I would actually call it that we have non-existent planing threshold. And again, one thing that is very good for a driver to know, because we're made the hull this way, it also keeps a true heading when we're driving at speed. So I don't need to be touching the steering wheel once I select my heading, which also means that I don't need to be fiddling around with trim tabs or engine trims or anything. It's more or less just pull the throttle, select your distance where you want to go, and just go for it. So to me, 18 knots is a bit of a slow cruising speed, but the one thing is to be noticeable. You can drive any speed, so even if I'm slowing this boat down to 15 knots, 14 knots, when the weather gets bad, I still have full control over the boat. I still have a true heading. The boat doesn't want to snake around. Now I'm doing 12 knots. And if I want, I can actually trim the engine up a bit more so that I can also then get a bit more bow lift to take on those heavy waves. Today, it's not that much of a windy condition. We've been here in Cannes and we've had some really huge waves coming in during the days. One thing that I forgot to do actually, which I now need to do, is remove the grill. So you also saw how I took the boat off the planing speed, and it just more or less slowed down by itself. So the grill easily stores around the U-sofa in this location, so safe to go out and drive. And now let's get some speed on the boat. So to me, a very comfortable driving speed is going around 27, 28 knots. And doing these 27, 28 knots, I'm running currently at 1.8 liters per nautical miles. I have half of a gas tank on board. And again, truly fun boat to drive. and economical. So with this I have a 300 nautical mile range. I'm going to do a turn to the left. Let's see how this boat turns. One thing that I love with the Mercury Arrow system, its advanced range optimization keeps the fuel consumption down, but it also has an automated throttle. So when I do these sort of turns, the Mercury system actually keeps the RPMs, so the boat doesn't slow down even in the turns. So for me, I don't need to be throttling up while I do the turn, or I don't need to be throttling down once I've completed the turn. Way easier handling, way easier driving, makes me more confident behind the steering wheel. So the collaboration we're doing between Mercury and Axopar is really something that I appreciate, and that we can be a part of also helping them develop better engine and better solutions on the boats. So 26 knots, easy breezy, all fun out, nice day out at sea. Here we are going 28 knots, and I'm going to do a crash stop. So now I'm going to go full neutral, now, full neutral. And as you see, the boat just slows down. There is no digging of the transom, there is no raising of the bow. It's all very comfortable and all very quiet. So this is also a feature that Axopar has built in due to its stepped hulls, and also due to its immense work we put into development in the last 10 years to be able to get these sort of features, safety features and functionalities on board. We also have many people that ask, can you have a gyro on the 29? Of course you can have a gyro on the 29. We've made preparations so that you can get a gyro installed by your dealer. So we can make a preparation kit for you at your dealers. The one thing still, take in consideration the very low center of gravity and the low weight of the boat, means that even when we're out at sea, the boat will not be rolling that much than many other conventional boats are doing. So we're just easily bobbing around, even if we have waves from big yachts driving around the Bay of Cannes and creating this sort of a confused sea. It's just this sort of gentle bobbing around. So we have many customers that actually do not ask us first, can we do a gyro? But once they go out and sea trial an Axopar, they come up with the conclusion that they actually don't even need a gyro on their boat. Axopar is all about making things work in a non-complex way. The more electronics, the more things we can break, the more things I want to have those away. I want to have a boat that is easy to use, easy to repair, easy to maintain, and easy to understand. That's one of our key philosophies. Now let's go have some more fun on the boat. So, getting everything set up, let's go hit some speeds. So to me, the Axopar 29 CCX is all about driving. So we're doing 35 knots at the moment, and as you see there are some small swells around here. But the boat sounds very robust. There is no wiggling, there is no screeching, it's very dead silent. So to me that's one of the key definitions of having a very high quality built boat. And I think with the 29, you need to sea trial it for yourself, but it's really a sensation while you get on the boat. And as you see, I've not really been driving the boat that much or steering the boat, because the boat will handle itself. So let's do some turns in these speeds as well. I'm going to turn to the right. Cameraman is holding on. Again, when you set your heading, it's just point and shoot. So we're getting the Lamborghini ahead of us. So let's go jump some wakes of that one. 30 knots. Easy breezy. Boom, boom. There we go. So whatever sort of conditions you're faced with, whatever sort of wakes, we're doing 35 knots right now. All fun and games. Comfort, dependent, reliable, easy. So there you have it, the Axopar 29 CCX, the true crossover. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough video. It was my pleasure to show it to you. And I'm really looking forward to introducing this boat in Fort Lauderdale in end of October, beginning of November as well. There we're going to showcase this boat as a more fishing version, where we're actually going to have bait wells, live wells, kill boxes, sea chests, leaning posts, more rod holders, more of everything. Still keep in mind, the Axopar way of doing the center console is all about the modularity, the functionality on board, but we're still going to be in there for those fishermen that want to go out and have a versatile boat for any day activities out with friends and families.